10 years, 460 episodes, every single one about spending more money and paying less taxes on your way to an even better retirement. My podcast, Retirement Starts Today, just turned 10 years old, and we open every episode with that exact sentence. So today I'm sharing the biggest lessons from a decade behind this microphone, 460 episodes, and thousands of client conversations in between. I'm going to break it down into 3 parts: spending more money, paying less taxes, and the secret to having an even better retirement. 10 years of retirement content and real retiree conversations. By the way, if you're new here, I'm Ben. I've been a retirement planner for almost 20 years, and I want to help you have an even better retirement. So let's start with spending more money. Now, here's the big idea. It took me a decade of talking about retirement planning to be able to say this so simply, but there are really 2 failures of retirement planning, and unfortunately, our industry only focuses on one of them. Failure number 1 is running out of money. Now, we organize almost all of our behavior around just this one fear. And the financial industry has really no shortage of products to sell you to make sure that you'll never run out. But here's what happens. In service to avoiding failure number 1, we often walk straight into failure number 2. And failure number 2 is dying with regret. And that's the one I'm trying to point some of your focus on as a retirement planner. Now, I'm not dismissing running out of money. I just happen to know about a dozen different ways to make sure that that never happens to you. And it's not exactly rocket surgery. We just need a flexible plan with lots of planned contingencies. It's simply a matter of managing your behavior inside of some guardrails. When this happens, we're going to do that. We think it all through in advance, and then we stick to the plan with a little bit of coaching. We decide ahead of time what we're going to do when the market drops, and that's really all it is in a nutshell. So you never have to make an emotional decision in a scary moment. That decision is already made, and that's exactly what helps you spend more money today, because we already have a plan A and a plan B and a plan C and so on. So I'm just not terribly worried about you running out of money, because we can create a plan that solves for that, and really any qualified advisor can as well. And in addition, it is really extremely rare in practice to actually run out of money, because most retirement rules of thumb are fantastically conservative. Let's look at the most famous rule in retirement planning, the 4% rule. If you had followed the 4% rule across history, here's what actually would have happened to your money. About 2/3 of retirees ended up with more than double the portfolio they started with. 1 in 6 ended up with more than 5 times what they started with following the 4% rule. In fact, less than 10% finished with less than their starting portfolio value. And in the modern era, it only happened a few times. Retirees starting in 1929, 1937, and 1965 and 66. Even after accounting for inflation and the cash flows that are withdrawn over a 30-year retirement, retirees finished with more than 100% of their inflation-adjusted principal about 60% of the time, and doubled their real wealth, again, after inflation, almost 1/4 of the time. This all comes from the Nerd's Eye View blog from Michael Kitces. We reference it often on the show here. So the fear of running out of money, for a super saver, it's mostly just that. It's a fear, which is why I try to shift some of your focus on failure number 2, which is dying with regret. The first decade of your retirement is the shiniest of your golden years. It's when you have the most health and the most energy and the most flexibility. It's when that bucket list actually feels doable. If we spend too little in those early years, that's just time that we don't ever get back. And here's a conversation that I have all the time with newly retired clients. Someone in their 60s will tell me about their mom and dad. Maybe they're in their 80s or 90s and they have plenty of money, but they simply cannot bring themselves to spend any of it. The kids will beg them, "Mom and Dad, please travel more, enjoy it. You saved up this money for yourself. I want you to enjoy it. You've earned it." But they just can't bring themselves to do that. A lot of this is inherited Depression-era trauma from parents and grandparents. I'm not blaming them, but we can learn from that. They were never taught the skills to enjoy their money, which is exactly why I talk about this stuff, because I don't want that reality. I don't want that regret for you. So really my whole job is to help you replace buyer's remorse with spender's confidence. You already know that you can afford it. It says so in the plan. The hard part is actually learning the new skills to actually enjoy spending your money. Real quick, before we get into the taxes, if you want the best retirement content on the internet in your email inbox every Thursday morning, join my free newsletter, This Week in Retirement. That's where I scour the internet, I find the best stuff, and I put it right to you in your email inbox. You can visit the link in the description or check out thisweekinretirement.com. All right, paying less taxes. I want to break this one also down to its simplest form, and that is if you want to pay less taxes in retirement, you've got to understand your number one advantage over the IRS. And that is that you get to think in terms of decades and in terms of generations. However, the IRS only gets to think 1 year at a time. And that's really the whole game. You get to look across 20 or 30 years and decide when to pay the least amount in taxes, whereas the IRS just looks 1 year at a time. And the trick to beating the IRS is to keep control of your income for as long as you possibly can. The longer you keep control of your income, the more you save in taxes. The one thing that takes that control away, of course, is RMDs, required minimum distributions. That's when the IRS forces that income out of your retirement accounts, whether you need it or not. So we plan instead for what I call the perfect RMD. Now, this brings me to the Roth conversion. And I want to give you the simplest definition of a Roth conversion I think you've ever heard. If you're a super saver, you've got over $1 million saved, and we've proven with a real plan that you are financially independent, that's really it. At its core, a Roth conversion is simply recognizing a surplus. It's a financial advisor or a piece of software looking at your plan and saying, I think you have too much in your IRA. Because someday when you're 90 or when your spouse becomes a single tax filer, there's going to be more in that account than you'll ever need. That's your surplus. By recognizing that a Roth conversion is simply getting out ahead of forced income in excess of our retirement budget, we can actually build a little bit of defense against both of our identified retirement failures, running out of money and dying with regret. And we do so by either doing Roth conversions or, my personal favorite, we simply spend more money. Both of these add tax efficiency by pulling that recognized surplus forward, and tax efficiency leaves more money in the plan. Avoiding some taxes leaves more money for you, and spending all or some of that money that we identified in a Roth conversion helps with retirement failure number 2, which of course is dying with regret. And the best part is that when we explain this to clients, that we do get the same place tax-wise, whether we spend the money or convert it to a Roth IRA, you should see the look on people's faces. In many cases, you can actually watch the weight fall off their shoulders, because a lot of times they already know what they were going to spend the money on. They've known for years. They want to help the kids with a down payment, or they want to help them pay off their student loans. They want to take a trip. They want to buy a truck. They want to finally build the dream deck that they've been talking about for 20 years. They just needed permission and a good plan, and a lot of times just a little encouragement. So that's paying less tax. Yeah, sometimes it's a Roth conversion. Sometimes it's just a little nudge to spend more money because, sure, Roth conversions are cool, but in reality, converting money to memories is significantly cooler. Which brings us to the last part of our opening statement on the podcast, on your way to an even better retirement. And I want to talk about just that word, the word even. I think the word even might be the most powerful word in all of retirement planning. And this was taught to me by a man named Joel Weldon. Now, Joel's a professional speaking coach out of Scottsdale, Arizona, and he is the quintessential Scottsdale guy. He's got a beautiful tan, perfect white teeth, and while he's in his 80s, he's still out teaching water skiing lessons. Joel taught me that even is the most powerful word in the English language, and once you see it, you really can't unsee it. And I'll show you what I mean. If I were to say to you, I can help you get into better shape, you might hear something that I didn't intend. You might hear, well, wait a minute, Ben thinks that I'm not in shape. But if I say I can help you get into even better shape, well, that really changes everything. Because even better honors the work that you've already done. It says you built something good here, and together we can build on it and make it even better and even bigger and even more impactful. That's why this channel is called Even Better Retirement, because I know how hard it is to save up this much money. In a lot of cases, you have outsaved 90% of your peers. 90% of the people that you graduated high school with, you saved more money than they did. And I recognize that, and I want to give you credit for it. It's not an easy thing to do. So here's how we actually have an even better retirement. We honor a contract. 30 years ago, you made a deal with your younger self. You said, I'm going to live on less than I make. I'm going to squirrel this money away because I want to live a great life someday. And at the very least, I don't want to be impoverished when I'm 70 or 80 or 90 years old. You told yourself no over and over and over again for decades so that one day you could finally tell yourself yes. But here's where so many super savers get off track. We never fulfilled the second half of that contract. We got so good at saying no over the years, we never learned how to tell ourselves yes. So we just keep saying no over and over right up until the day we die. And then I guess we leave our kids a mattress stuffed full of money. That's a broken contract. You broke the contract with the one person that was counting on you the most, your younger self. Honoring that contract with your younger self takes learning a new set of skills. You've got to learn how to turn money into memories, right? We've got to invest your time and your energy and, yes, sometimes your money. And that just doesn't happen by accident. You've got to have practice and you've got to have a plan. If you want a plan, ours is called the Retire Ready Blueprint. There's a link in the description if you want to check it out. Or you can visit retirementstartstoday.com/start if you want to learn more. So the plan is step 1. Step 2 is essentially coaching. You need an accountability partner, and that could be a friend or a spouse or a financial advisor focusing on retirement planning, but somebody who really keeps encouraging you to spend that time and money and energy on that life that you promised your younger self. That's how you honor that contract, and that's how you have an even better retirement. And to everybody that's checked out our podcast over the last 10 years and listened along, thank you so much. I sure appreciate it. Here's to 10 more years of podcasting. Thanks for watching.